Lights are going up, snow is falling down. There's a feeling of goodwill around town. It could only mean one thing. McRib is here. People throwing parties, ugly sweaters everywhere. Stockings hung up by the chimney with care. It could only mean one thing. McRib is here.
At participating McDonald's for a limited time.
You better not have no plans tonight.
Movie time and it's feeling right.
You're looking for a love that lasts. You'll find it at Romancing the Podcast. Ooh, ooh, baby, you had me at hello. Ooh, I love you.
I know.
Ooh, ooh, baby, you're the wind beneath my wings. Ooh, ah, I'll have what she's having.
Thank you for tuning into Romancing the Pod. You had us at ho, ho, ho. I'm Paige Wesley.
How dare you? And I'm Todd Schlosser. And this week, Paige made us watch
Meet Me Next Christmas.
So, Paige, I have to assume that this is like a Pentatonix written, produced movie.
I was going to say, I was like, look, did I enjoy this very long Pentatonix commercial? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it a Pentatonix commercial? Also, yes.
Yeah.
Am I mad about it? No, they own Christmas.
No.
Mariah should watch her back. But you know what? I dug it. I had a good time.
Paige, I am honestly thrilled and shocked to hear you say that you loved this, but largely because I was like, okay, there might be too much product placement for Pentatonix in this movie, and that is for the first like 30 minutes. And then they just become legit ass characters.
Then they're just characters in it. But I love that anytime we cut to them, they're nuts. They're completely
Yes.
nuts.
Yeah. Paige, I don't know if you followed any of them on YouTube, but like I
Yes.
followed Superfruit pretty hardcore for a long time.
Yeah, of course.
And I love Superfruit. So seeing those two guys specifically, but I also like the other guys and
Yeah.
Lady and Pentatonix are amazing. So like I get why people might be like out for this.
I'm
like
out.
this is not for me. But this is aggressively for me specifically.
I mean, it's got baking, it's got drag,
Yes.
it's got acapella, it's got all of it.
It's got a checklist of shit I'm into.
It's got conversations between grown-up characters that actually further their chemistry because they get to know each other, which movies fucking fail to do all the time. It's got hot arm tattoos, and it's got great kisses. Like, this is the movie I would watch while putting up decorations. This is where I'm at. This is my holiday for this year. There's always one every year that's like too good to be a Netflix movie, and it's this one.
I do think this is too good to be a Netflix movie. Although when I told Natalie about it, because I've been traveling for like a week,
Yeah.
so Natalie and I just like FaceTime all the time when I'm not busy. And I told Natalie I'll watch this movie for the podcast, and she was like, "What was it like?" And I sort of told her about the Pentatonix stuff, and I was like, "It's really cute though. You should watch it." And she goes, "All right."
I feel like when you describe this movie to people, they're going to be like, no. And I'm here to tell you that I'm like, it's honestly not bad.
It's ridiculous that I have to say that, but I would say that too if talking to someone else about it, because like it's a lot of Pentatonix.
It's a lot. It's a lot of Pentatonix.
Guys, if you're not a fan of what Pentatonix does, don't watch this movie, even though the story that they are, I don't know, the Mercutios of
They're the chorus.
is great.
They're like the Greek chorus.
They
and
are
they're
the chorus.
super into it. And I love it.
I think technically from like a classic literary standpoint, they are like gods, technically.
Yes, they're like the pantheon watching
That, like,
the
play
mortals.
with the mortals.
Yes.
Yes. And I was like, honestly, I feel like that's how at least the two Superfruit dudes see themselves, and should, because those guys are awesome.
It made me think about, I was like, this is how they should have done that weird ass Celine Dion movie that the guy from Outlander was in. But then remember when we did that one, she was basically kind of a deity in that movie too.
She was.
So,
yeah.
you know, if you liked that one and you hate instruments, watch this one.
The thing is, like, I love what they do. I love what the Pentatonix does.
Oh, yeah.
They're so good at it.
Yeah, and for Christmas, they fucking nail Christmas, right? Like,
Yes.
again, Mariah should watch her back. But like, yes.
Yeah, 5 mangy dogs could take down a lion. You know what I'm saying? There's
Yes,
5 of
there's
them.
5 of
In
them.
a street fight for Christmas?
Yeah.
I'd watch out.
I know.
Nick Cannon's no longer in her corner. Like, she's in trouble.
Well, and he could have brought his army of children, but not now.
I don't, Paige, they are probably the elves at this point. I don't know where the metaphor's going.
I don't know.
But I think we should leave child labor out of it.
Okay, fine. But Santa doesn't, and we should all remember that.
Yeah. Did you guys learn nothing?
Anyway, I did get a text from my mom that she saw that Chris Evans Christmas Santa movie, and she was like, it was pretty good. So I might have to go see that while Jake is out of town.
Did you ask her one thing about the plot that wasn't, is Chris Evans hot in it?
No, absolutely not. I care nothing else.
Does he wear a cable knit sweater that's a little too small?
You know he does. And like, I don't need to know anything else about it. I did love that somebody on Twitter last week was like, Knives Out is a Christmas movie because Chris Evans wears that sweater. And I was like, yeah, it's a Christmas gift to us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Honestly, yeah. I will never put on a cable knit sweater because I know I'll be sad that I don't fill it out as well. You know, like,
Ooh.
yeah, never.
He just looks cozy. Anyway, he's not in this movie, but a bunch of other people are, and it's pretty fun. I liked it.
Paige, there's an ex-football player in this
What?
movie, and he's actually doing a great job acting.
Is it Airport James?
No, it's the lead. It's Teddy.
Teddy? Oh, I don't know ball. I don't know sports at all.
Paige.
I don't know ball people. He's hot as fuck though, so like, good for him. Who did he play for?
First off, I don't know ball people isn't right. That's not right. Okay? You can't say it like that.
Who did he play for?
So I did a little research because you couldn't record until this time, and
Right.
I sort of blew off having another like mandatory fun dinner with my coworkers.
Sure.
Because the conference technically is over. So I did some research. So he played for the Detroit Lions.
Okay.
And was about to be on the Cleveland Browns, but I think maybe didn't make the cut, or there was something that happened that made him not be on that team.
Or he had to do this movie.
Well, I mean, this is like that was 2006 to 2007 when he played for the Lions.
Oh, wow. So that's a while back. Okay.
Yeah. So he spent the time between, because he sort of hasn't played professional ball since 2009-ish.
Okay.
And he started to transition into acting from then, or at that point, but it's like it's something he's been like working at.
I've seen him before, right? Like,
Oh yeah, no, he's done things. Yeah. I mean,
I figured.
he's been working and acting since around that time, but I don't think he's done anything like huge. I'm not saying that this is huge either, but I think it's cool that he sort of like came from professional football and has sort of worked his way up acting. And he does a great job in this movie. I think him and is it Christina Milian? Is that how you say your name? Christina Milian?
Christina Milian, who doesn't actually sing in this movie, despite definitely being able to very much sing.
Oh yeah, she's great. But I think she's great, and they have a lot of chemistry in this movie. Like, I really found it charming. I feel like a lot of people are going to be like, Pentatonix, I don't want that. No, that's too much. And I did like in my
Grinches.
in my notes I said, they've mentioned Pentatonix in every scene, and we're 40 minutes in. And then my next note was, holy shit, the Pentatonix are in this movie.
They're here in the movie.
And then I was like, oh, okay. So they just like Superfruit wrote this movie, I guess. I mean, they didn't. It was an actual person who's actually written before. And from the world famous director of, Paige, I was sitting on this.
I can't wait.
Tales from the Hood 3 and Creep Show.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Tales from the Hood 2. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. This guy is like Tales from the Hood's got Tony Todd, right? Creep
Yes.
Show is obviously horror. He's got some horror cred.
He's got chops, is what you're saying. He's got things under his belt.
Yeah.
That's why this movie is good. And it doesn't have plot holes.
It doesn't. Everything super tracks.
It's super tracks. There's no, is this person Santa? Although I asked myself that many times throughout the script.
Oh my God, Paige. I swear to God, at the end of this movie, Teddy was going to show up.
The rich people, I was like, are they elves?
No, Paige, they weren't elves. They were crypto thieves.
Oh.
Did we
yes.
learn nothing from that documentary you made me watch? And I could not stop watching.
Couldn't stop watching, right? I was like,
was so
what's
good.
her deal? What? Yeah, how is she free?
Because he's not free.
I
But
know. Well, tricky. Anyway, yes.
Yeah, it's complex. Watch the doc. It's
the only time crypto's been interesting ever.
swear to God. It's like it's called The Biggest Heist Ever, maybe? Is that what it's called?
The biggest heist ever. And I was like, you guys needed a better title. This is going to blend into all the Netflix stuff.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not going to win that SEO game, nerds. But I super loved it. I thought it was a great, fun way of doing like the really cute meet cute to subvert the other meet cute that she had at the same time, but wasn't as cute. And then that becomes the person she is like fated to be with in this world. I loved it. I thought it was super cute. It was such a fun way to do that.
I loved it. I also loved that at the end, they got him out of the way immediately. There was no question. There was not a will they, won't they. They were like, I'm here for him and I stand him and it's nice that you're here, but no. And then that guy has like another girlfriend. And I was like, hell yeah, guys.
And I really loved, and it's a really simple thing, but like they cut away to him when he's watching from the audience. They're like, come together moment at the concert. And like he says, oh, that's the lady from the airport to his wife or to his girlfriend. So it's not something he has hidden from her, you know?
No. Yeah, he definitely told her.
Right. But okay, how much of a fan is that lady of the Pentatonix? And is she just going to that concert to make sure he doesn't go alone? Like, do you see what I'm saying?
Okay, here's my backstory that I wrote for them that is infinitely less sinister.
Okay, I love it. Please tell me everything.
It's that she got him into Pentatonix, and initially he got into it because she was into it.
Sure.
But then he actually kind of got into Pentatonix, and then he meets this other lady, and he's like, have you heard the Pentatonix? And she's like, no. And it becomes a thing they share together.
Love it.
So they still want to go, even though it is the thing.
And she has to like talk him into it, and he's like, I really don't want to like bump into her. Like, it would be weird. And she's like, come on, I love him. We gotta go.
Well, I'll be with you. So like, it'll just be nice. We can closure and whatever.
Yes. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Love it. But I did love that it seemed like James was a good guy, is a good guy.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times the movie will paint the other character in the will they, won't they at the end, sort of like, oh, he was the bad choice for her because he's actually a bad guy.
Right.
He's like a secret bad guy. But no, James is also a great dude. And I really liked that.
Yeah. I also love, they did my number one movie complaint that I have about movies like this, where you've got like a will they, won't they, what are they going to do? Where they present her boyfriend in the beginning, which for a long time, they don't officially tell us what's going on. And I was like, boyfriend, brother, why is she flirting with these people? And she makes a definitive choice not to cheat on him.
Yes.
And she turns it down flat. No debate, turns it down. And then when she gets back that next year or whatever, he's full-blown cheating on her. And he's like, well, you were home early. And she's like, get the fuck out of my house. And he's just out of the movie. And I was like, yes.
I know.
Yes.
Perfect.
Definitive stakes. Like, yes.
Yes.
No questions. No murky business. He's just out. And I was like, that's how you do this. This is seasoned horror directors know. They're like, you got to kill somebody early.
Yeah.
So they know you're serious.
Yeah. And Paige, I did. I also thought cheating on your girlfriend at your girlfriend's house, that's a weird take, right? Like, why would you do that? He literally was like, well, my maid's there and I didn't want to like cheat on you in front of my maid. Like, that was his excuse. So like, when they said he was a doctor, I was like, that checks out actually. Okay, I could see that. Yeah.
Well, and once they start listing everything off about him, you're like, he was not good for a lot of reasons. It is good he's out of her life. But it also gives us a framework for the ways in which Teddy is going to meet her needs.
Yes.
In ways that he didn't, demonstrably.
Well, and ways that she didn't really value until she met Teddy as her concierge.
Yes.
Yeah. And her friend did sort of posit, who I loved her friend too. I thought she was awesome.
Roxy's awesome.
Yeah, she's great. But like her friend calls it out at the very beginning. So like the movie does an excellent job early on of like, hey, here's what needs to change for her.
Right.
And you sort of think maybe at that point that that's what she's going to work on this year. Then we're going to meet James knowing that she's worked on it and they'll be successful. So we'll get like this like growth movie, sort of like the opposite of sort of like how Stella got her groove back on some level. And then she's ready for a relationship. And I loved that it wasn't that. I loved that it was the person she was supposed to be with was this concierge that she also did meet at the airport that night.
She also did meet that day, yeah.
But like didn't value what he brought to the table then. So didn't even consider him an option.
Right.
And then being forced to spend sort of a day or 2 days ish that goes on for really 25 days.
Yes.
But being forced to spend that time with him shows why she should value the things that he brings to the table. And she does. I loved it. I really did love it. I get why you wouldn't like the pentatonic stuff, guys. But if you could get through it, it's good.
No, you know what? It works. It works in the movie. It's pretty funny.
I think it works too because it's Christmas. Yes.
And because they're playing heightened hyperbolic versions of themselves, and it is done very funny.
They are Greek gods on Olympus fucking with mortals. Like if you cut to them and it was just them dressed as like Zeus and fucking Aphrodite.
And one of them had a Bupo owl, like Clash of the Titans.
Yes.
Yes.
And then it was just them. No change in dialogue from them, mind you, because you don't have to.
Yes.
Exactly, Paige. Exactly.
Everything is the same, just clouds and togas.
I lost my mind when they would sometimes respond in 5-part harmony to their agents.
Without preparing, ever.
No, it was like, they were like, what? It was so fucking funny.
This movie posits that the Pentatonix have a telepathic connection with each other and also perfect pitch. And I love that for them.
Paige, I actually know exactly what happened. So there was one perfect singer, and that's perfect singer was killed
Jesus
by...
Christ? Oh, no. Okay.
You know what? Let's go with that. And then I was going to say the next sentence I was going to say anyway, and you're going to hear how ridiculous it sounds. So there was this perfect singer.
Right.
His name was Jesus. And then I think Bane kills him, and then we get a Death of Jesus comic, and then, I don't know, a year later, 5 Jesuses are resurrected as the Pentatonix.
Sure.
This is a Death of Superman joke that you turned into Death of Jesus.
You're welcome. I mean, Superman is kind of a Jesus-y figure. That's why he can be a little boring at times, but...
He's a real Mary Sue or whatever. Like, Superman is uninteresting to me on every level.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Now, I will posit a different one where there was one perfect singer and he was Kronos, and the 5 Pentatonix emerged from his brain to then bring knowledge and health and witchcraft and whatever to the people. And also, you know, maybe Arnold Schwarzenegger and James Earl Jones are in it.
I think when we really nail like deep fake technology, the first thing I hope people do is just add togas
to this movie.
To all of the Pentatonix in every scene in this. Like, it's what people need in this time is... The people are clamoring for this, Page. I've heard it from me.
I've heard it.
That the people are clamoring for it.
It's in my DMs where people are like, I know you're about to do that movie. You know what should happen? They should be a Greek chorus, but like literally a Greek chorus, like toga, spanakopita, like the whole thing.
So good. I also really love that like in 2024, we can finally just like admit Macklemore's a punchline. And I loved it. I thought that was great.
I felt bad because Macklemore did some cool shit this year, but like I think the movie was written and shot before that, and so they couldn't take it back at that point.
Yeah. So they shot it mainly in Ontario, to double as New York City, which is very common. But they shot it.
That's very common.
Yeah, they shot it between March and May of 2023. Yeah. I didn't want to usurp any of your fun facts, so I wasn't going to bring that up until you brought it up or whatever. But yeah. So it definitely was before that.
Yeah.
I honestly cannot remember what it was that Macklemore did. It wasn't music because...
It was like a thing for Palestine, and it was actually pretty dope. But like that, he has kind of retreated from music to a degree anyway. But yeah, anyway.
I figured he was more on the producing side and then just went back to it, honestly.
Honestly, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know a ton about him other than I know one of his cousins. And it was one of those things where like I saw pictures with them together on Instagram. I was like, oh, did you guys go to like a concert? And she was like, no, that's my cousin. And I was like, I see the resemblance now. Okay, cool. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I do think it's an easy one to dunk on.
It is.
Now, here's the thing. I would have made it Pitbull just so we could laugh about Mikey's taste in music. But that's just for me.
Oh, you mean his excellent taste in music, Paige? Rude. How dare you besmirch Mikey?
Mr. Worldwide. Not that I don't like Pitbull, but it's wild if Pitbull's your favorite.
I don't love Pitbull, but like I get it. I mean, I also kind of love Pentatonix, so I'm not sure I have the best taste in music either, Paige.
No, I think Pentatonix is good. It's just a very specific lane.
But if you were like a theater kid, and I was worse than that, I was a theater kid that couldn't take theater because I was already doing band and choir and I couldn't take a third elective.
Right.
I was like a wannabe theater kid. So like, I love Pentatonix.
Well, Pentatonix is for choir kids.
It definitely is.
100%.
Yeah, like they're amazing. They're all amazing singers, which is why I love them. But I also love that when they do like spontaneously sing in 5-part harmony,
right,
their agent responds like someone who's sick of it at this point and is like, I get it. Okay, stop it with that. I know you guys are like Death of Superman or whatever, and you all share a brain or whatever happened in that. But like, stop it.
Yes, if you're a choir kid, Pentatonix is aggressively your shit. I'm convinced that most of the people that like Pentatonix just wish they were in Pentatonix.
Fuck, that hurt, but it's so true, right? Like
that's what's up. Hey, I'm in this bucket with you too. It's fine.
I wish I could do any of that stuff. You know,
right?
At that level, I can sing fine. Like it's fine at karaoke. Like I can't sing like these guys could sing, or beatbox like that dude can beatbox. That dude's insane.
While playing the cello, it's a bass. Yeah,
that dude was yo-yo maing and then also beatboxing over it.
Yeah,
that's super impressive.
It's incredible.
Think of the rhythms, Paige. Think of all the rhythms.
I can't. That's why I'm not a pentatonic. When we went and did Broadway karaoke the day after Christmas or day after Thanksgiving a couple weeks back, my goal was just to not be the worst. And I do think I succeeded in not being the worst in the room. But like, there's all of those people are probably Pentatonix people. And honestly, we should go caroling. Joe, text me.
Joe's too busy watching Meet Me Next Christmas, Paige.
Oh.
And honestly, we should probably go through this movie scene by scene.
Can I tell you something about Joe that will make you like them even more?
Is it the Joe who was on the episode with us?
Yes.
We need to get Joe back on. I love Joe.
Joe and the other karaoke host sang Agony from Into the Woods and fucking crushed it. Fucking crushed it. Crushed it.
That is no joke my favorite Sondheim song
Agony.
of all time.
Incredible. It
not only is a well-written song, it nails a brotherly dynamic unlike any musical song ever has.
And they crushed it.
So good.
Anyway, yeah, let's talk about this movie.
Let's do it. Theater nerds who are the only people listening to this episode.
That's okay. We may have tricked people just by the name and they're like, maybe they'll stop talking about Pentatonix. We won't. They're in the whole movie.
We won't be able to because I guess they were contractually obligated to be on set every day. Like, it's insane.
It's insane.
They're in it so much. For a movie that didn't start out with, the Pentatonix present Meet Me Next Christmas. Like, it's an inordinate amount of Pentatonix.
So much.
And I say all that, and I want you to know, I loved it.
Oh, I mean...
It's so much, though.
Again, it's like that one with Celine Dion, where it's like the guy from Outlander being real gooberish, and then, like, he's like, I need advice on how to do the things. And like, then he goes to Celine Dion and she's like, of course. Why you not come to Celine Dion before? It is love, no? And you're just like, oh, that's why. Anyway, yeah, that's this movie, basically.
She's like, when I met my husband at 15 and he was 38 or whatever.
Oh, it's worse than that, dude. It's worse.
Oh, gross. Yeah, okay. Sorry, whatever.
No, we won't. We can't. We talked enough about it during that episode.
I know. And she is a great singer. Like,
if you want some Celine Dion laughs in your life, go watch the SNL sketch from when Ariana Grande was on a couple weeks ago, and she did Celine Dion presents the UFC Fighting Federation.
What? Come on.
It's one of my favorite things. She has a fantastic Celine Dion impression. Anyways.
Amazing.
We open in an airport. Pentatonix are on all the airport TVs. And I was like, is this why they were credited online? But no, it's because they're characters later.
Yeah, it's legit because they're characters in the movie. I did love that this Christmas movie starts out like the first subtext line of dialogue that comes up on this like subtext or subtitles is Christmas is ruined.
No,
because everyone's flights are getting canceled, right? So like the first line you hear is Christmas is ruined. It's just like a patron, like someone who's flying that day. So it's not anyone who's like in the movie really, but it's like the first line of dialogue.
It is the first line of dialogue, but I also love how they do this because she's walking through the airport. She stops at the like screen that shows the like departures and arrivals, and we don't see it.
Yeah.
We just hear everyone go, oh, like in unison.
Yeah.
Because everything is now delayed because there's a storm or whatever. And then you hear Christmas is ruined. And I wrote it in my notes because I think I've told you this before, but when I worked in retail, I used to keep track of what day someone told me Christmas was ruined every year. Like the first time I heard it of the Christmas season.
I bet it was before Thanksgiving sometimes.
Oh, November 12th on my birthday was the last time the last year I tracked it, and it was on my actual birthday. I was there working and I knew I was quitting. My last day was December 23rd.
Oh,
I knew it was coming up because I was already interviewing.
Quit right before Black Friday. Like, that's just cold-blooded.
No. December 23rd is the day before Christmas Eve.
Oh, shit. I think you said November. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, December 23rd. And
that's very kind.
You're welcome. I'd already interviewed with my new job or whatever. And this lady was looking at teapots and we were out of stock on one. And she was just like, oh, you're ruining Christmas. And I literally, because I was out of fucks, I was like, it's November 12th. And I was like, we're gonna get more shipments. How often do you think we get stuff? Like, it's a store. I have to keep things on the shelf. And she was just like, huh? That I was lecturing her? Because I was like, you're not even being rational right now. Like, I could call other stores if you want it today, but like, just wait a week or whatever. She was like, well, I never, and left the store.
Well, I never.
It was great.
I didn't realize that Teresa Tova was in your store page, who played the old lady who was like abusing them in this movie. In the store.
It was basically that lady. It was basically that lady. Anyway, Christmas is ruined. But in this movie, it's on Christmas Eve and they're stuck and their flights are not going to get there.
Right.
And she's like FaceTiming her boyfriend, which like, as she's doing it, I was like, oh, the boyfriend. And then later I would question that. But she's like, hey, I'm so sorry. I'm on like 4 standby lists. I will make it home in time for the show. Don't worry about it. And then there won't be any traffic tomorrow and we'll do gifts at home before the parade. Everything's going to be fine. And she's like, also, there's like one other thing. He's like, oh, are you going to get a cool, like, are you going to go to the airport Chili's? And I'm like, yes, bitch. I'm always down for an airport Chili's. But no, it was already closed. But she does have lounge access. I've never been in one of these.
Really?
Yeah, I don't tend to fly airlines that have lounges.
Same. Yeah.
They don't go the places I want to go.
If you're on Southwest, there's a good chance you're going to see me throughout the year because I'm on Southwest all the time.
Yeah.
I got companion pass this year.
There you go. Yeah.
Like I fly so much.
Yeah, and their lounge is just the Hudson News. Anyway.
So true. And if you catch me in a Hudson News, I'll be buying a Smart Water and a Cliff Bar. That's like my go-to at an airport. Yeah.
Oh, see, I love to get those little like beef jerky, like tiny sausages.
Yeah.
And some sort of like Haribo gummy bears and like Cheez-Its. But then I have to like do a second mortgage on my house to pay for that shit because it's at the fucking airport.
The best part of having an expense account page. Come on, baby.
There you go. So she goes to the buffet and she sees the last mini quiche.
Yeah.
And she just has to have it. But he's like, oh, I love those, but they're even better. She bumps into a guy who's also trying to grab the last mini quiche. It's a real Lady in the Tramp eating spaghetti situation.
It's a real quiche cute, Paige.
It's a quiche cute. I love quiche. One of my favorite foods, honestly.
Honestly, quiche are great.
Oh, and I make a main quiche. My quiche is so good, it's ruined other quiche for me at other places because like it's not the same, but it takes a long time to do it. So
I love that you're the kind of person that could go out to a restaurant and eat like something that they painstakingly prepared in the kitchen and be like, oh man, I wish I was at home right now.
Yeah. There are certain things at restaurants where I do wish I was at home right now.
That's just such a foreign concept to me just because I don't cook like that.
Quiche is one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I love those little mini quiches.
They're great.
The little ones that they put in like an air fryer or a microwave.
Yeah.
Dig it. Anyway, he's like, they're even better with sriracha on them. I was like, he knows what's up. He knows what tastes good.
He does know what's up because they are. And this also ties into his, like, he's a great chef, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's great with flavors.
Can I tell you one of the best things I had with sriracha on it recently? It's late. I've had a terrible day at work. This is going to be a little weird. I'm going to derail things a bit.
Get weird.
But it was a fried deviled egg.
I've never had a fried deviled egg.
They breaded it and deep fried it and then drizzled a sriracha glaze on top of it. but they were tiny. They were like little tiny quail eggs. They were fucking delicious.
That does sound amazing.
It was great.
Yeah.
If you're ever in Temecula, I don't know the name of that restaurant. Good luck.
Just stand and yell for a deep fried deviled egg or whatever. Yeah.
Anyway, he's there in kind of like a hoodie. He's got gifts. He's got a lot of stuff. We only see him for like a minute or two, but they have a really cute connection.
Yeah.
And he kind of drops, he's buying like these Christmas ramekins, which will come back later.
Yeah.
And I'm curious as to whether or not you clocked what was going to happen with the ramekins as early as I did.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, one ends up in her purse, and we know that in this scene. So I knew that Teddy was actually our guy.
Sure, of course.
Because Teddy's the guy we're meeting right here.
Right. I wasn't sure because she doesn't seem to remember later in the movie. I was like, how is he going to jog her memory? And then his mom opens the door and she's like, I need help with the creme brulee. And I was like, ramekins. And I was like, this is the nerdiest I have felt about cookware.
Yeah.
In a long time, that I literally all caps typed and yelled at the same time, ramekins, as a plot point. Anyway, he drops it in her purse. He leaves because he's got to go make his flight.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she meets Airport James, who is bummed that he's not getting home to be with his nieces and nephews. They connect. They have a really cute meet cute. We find out what her job is.
They do.
That she works for a nonprofit that helps kids get into HBCUs and like helps them get scholarships to pay for it. Great. Love all that.
Yeah.
They connect. And now here's the thing. I respect a man who shoots his shot.
Yeah.
Because they connect, but in a way that is like, it doesn't cross a line. It is all above board, you know?
Yeah. I do feel like there's chemistry between them. I mean, even between the actors in the scene, like there's chemistry there. You can feel it. It's not like, they're not like holding hands or anything though. They're like listening to music. She's introducing them to, I don't know if you've heard of the band before, Paige, but Pentatonix.
No, tell me all about it.
They're in the movie a lot.
What kind of music do they do? What instruments do they play? Just their voices? Magic.
Exactly. It's kind of like barbershop quartet and a cappella, but way better.
Have you seen Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? You remember the theme song? Okay, it's kind of like that, but Christmas.
That is 1000% accurate. Yeah. Where in the world is
Carmen Sandiego? Still their soul in South Korea, making article cry uncle. I'm going to wake up my husband. This is a problem. Anyway, so they have a connection and his flight is boarding. So he has to get up and go. And he's like, before I go, I felt a connection. I know you have a boyfriend. I'm not going to pressure you to break up with anybody. But like, if you found yourself single, I would be interested. And she's like, okay, but I'm not. And he's like, well, okay, how about a year from now?
Yeah.
You got me into Pentatonix because I was super into Carmen Sandiego and now I'm into the Pentatonix.
Right.
You got me into it. You always go to the concert. How about next year we meet at if we're both single, we meet at the concert. And, you know, if not, whatever, we're not going to stay connected. I'm not going to try and convince you to break up.
That's why I really like that James is revealed to actually still be a good guy at the end.
Right,
because
right.
I feel like I feel like this is a good guy to make this ask because he asks her in a way that is it's not even non-committal. It is like, if you are single in a year from now and you would like to meet me again,
right,
come to this place. And she's just like, I am not single. I'm not looking to be single. I appreciate the offer. We'll see what happens.
Right.
And I feel like that is exactly the way you should play it. I feel like she plays it perfectly.
Yeah. Well, and the movie needs them to not be able to be connected so that she doesn't meet him before she needs to.
Right. Because there's no way James wouldn't have reached out. I mean, you've seen what Christina looks like, but like,
yeah, of course.
I did like that he put those ground rules in place. He was like, we cannot talk to each other before then. Like, because I feel like he also wants her to run that relationship to ground. And if it's for her, he wants her to stay in the relationship she's in.
Right, right.
If it's not for her, then meet me in a year from now, you know?
Yeah, he doesn't want to get to like 3 months in and be like, yo, I heard J-Lo on the radio and it made me think of you. That's a Christina Milian joke for the people in the audience. You're welcome. Okay. Anyway, he gets on his plane. She goes her separate way.
Yeah.
It is what it is. 1 year later, she still has that ramekin.
Of course she does.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get rid of ramekins that nice, Paige, even if you don't have the set.
Are you ready for Paige's Cookware Corner?
Welcome back to Paige's Cookware Corner. She's going to talk about Pyrex and other shit.
Okay, yes. Not for very long, though. Those ramekins have printed decals on them, which means that they're only safe to about 350 degrees or less, which means it's actually pretty dangerous to use them for creme brulee because you have to use fire to torch the sugar at the end. And if you hit the side, you'll definitely scorch those ramekins. This has been Paige's Cookware Corner.
Paige's Cookware Corner.
You need to know about plates. Anyway.
I need some nerd out there to like really goose that up in editing and send it back to me. I want it to sound just whatever. That's so funny. Sorry.
Anyway, she's got it full of paper clips, which is cute.
Yeah.
And she got some kids into school. She got them into Spelman and Morehouse. Good for her.
Yeah.
But she's like, since I got these kids into the school, I'm gonna leave early and I'm gonna go surprise Tanner with dinner. Even though I don't cook, I got his favorite and I ordered out. I'm gonna bring it home. Great. So she shows up at the house and I was like, he's definitely cheating on her in this house. Like, this is absolutely what's gonna happen.
She shows up to her own house though. Like, it's insane.
If you cheat on me in my own damn house,
right?
I'm taking your Buster Keatons. I'm taking them. They're mine now. I didn't pay the mortgage for you to fool around.
I believe it was Aretha Franklin that said, respect, Paige.
Yeah, of course.
I want a little respect when I come home.
Aretha knows best.
Just a little bit. She does.
Enough to not fuck somebody on my couch.
Right?
Yeah.
What is this, Sean's house?
Yeah. What is this, Sean's couch? Come on. I mean, Sean's couch has a magnetic pull. You can't deny it. It just happens.
Yeah.
But he's like, well, the maid was at my place, so I just came over here. And I'm like, so you've been cheating and then you came to defile my domicile? No, thank you, sir. My couch?
Literally was just like, I couldn't have sex at my place because like the maid was there, so I'm just fucking at your place. Girlfriend.
How about you fuck on the lawn? Get the fuck out. Yeah.
I love that she like does kick him out.
Immediately, no questions asked. Yes.
Yeah, and then throws the like tin full of spaghetti on him. I loved that.
Loved that.
Yeah.
That's exactly, like, yes, she's going to have to Postmate something else for her dinner, but
do it.
Worth it.
Yeah.
Worth it to cover a man in hot noodles.
Oof.
Anyway.
That's the dream though, right, Paige? You've been talking about it for ages.
Oh my God, I would love to throw things at people just at all times.
Oh, I thought you meant covering Jake in hot noodles. Sorry.
Oh, I mean, the noodles would make it harder for me to get to the hot meat underneath.
Paige, can I just say this?
Uh-huh.
I have more than once wondered what it would be like if like...
Someone wrapped noodles around your dick?
No, wait, no, hang on. Hang on.
I didn't know where you were going with this, but clearly it was to Italia.
It is. Yeah, I'm not going to go the full Italian though. Come on. No, I want like a big sheet of like lasagna and I want to boil it and cook it and then just like have it like a blanket.
Oh, because it's nice and warm, but like warm through the tin. Like how you feel when you hold a tin of lasagna. I understand this.
Yeah, just like lay under a big lasagna.
And just smells garlicky. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great.
That does sound good. That sounds nice.
It'd be great for like 5 minutes and then it would get cold and you'd be like, I hate everything about this.
This is very heavy and it smells like meat. It is late night recording energy, y'all.
It is. You got to be careful though, because you can't let them turn you into a ravioli. Then you'll suffocate.
Ooh. Unless you say the safe word. What is it? Ricotta.
That is the most sexual of cheeses.
Because it's spreadable. Anyway, so she goes to New York City with her friend Roxy, and she's like, no, we broke up right before Christmas. What do I do? And her friend is like, he was trash. He kept forgetting about your peanut allergy. He was like detrimental to your health, even though he was a doctor, and he killed your fish. And I'm like, man, she should have broken up with this guy at the airport.
Yeah, he murdered her fish.
You're lucky this is an airport.
I know.
Anyway, she's like, okay. But she also says, she's like, he was a classic Layla pick. He was great, good looking. He had a good job, all of it. But he didn't actually care about you and the things that you like. And you didn't have an emotional and vulnerable connection in that way. He did not consider you in his plans, clearly, because like he fucked on your couch.
Wild. It's wild ballsy. It is. I am a doctor energy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I am a doctor and my girlfriend works in a nonprofit and I think money solves everything energy. Like, it's that kind of thing.
Yeah, because he literally is like, it's almost like he doesn't understand why she's mad. And I'm like,
it is almost like that. It's kind of callously gross.
Sir.
Yeah.
No. you're going to have a pre-authorization for that pussy.
I guess your sociopathy was a pre-existing condition.
Your claim has been canceled.
Paige, do you ever notice how the days are shorter, but your to-do lists aren't? Power through your busy days with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. From breakfast to dinner and anything in between, Factor has easy, nutritious options to keep you fueled and feeling your best. Whether you like your routine or you enjoy mixing things up, Factor has you covered with 35 different delicious meals every week and over 60 additional convenient options you can add to your box like keto cookies, pressed juices, and smoothies. Don't let shorter days slow you down. Stay energized with America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service. And check this out. Factor is cheaper than takeout and dining out. Put that money towards holiday shopping or whatever you want. And there's also no sacrificing quality with convenience with Factor meals. Weekly menus offer ways to treat yourself to a restaurant-like meal experience with gourmet plus dishes that feature premium proteins and seasonal sides like broccolini, leeks, and asparagus. How does truffle butter filet mignon or garlic herb roasted barramundi sound? Mouth-watering, right? Someone asked Paige if I said barramundi right. I have no idea. But I do have a great idea about how you can get this wonderful deal, and that is to head to factormeals.com/50 romancing the pod and use code 50 romancing the pod. Guys, they reversed it. It used to be the opposite, but now it's 50 romancing the pod to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code 50 romancing the pod at factormeals.com/50 romancing the pod to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping while your subscription's active.
Anyway, but at this point, her friend is like, what about Airport James? Because I feel like every set of girlfriends has one of these, what about that one time and it didn't happen and it's legendary within the friend group, even though you have idealized it in your mind and it is not real. But it is the legendary, this almost happened.
Sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think everybody's got one of them. And here's the thing. It's not real. You've made it in your mind to be something else.
Yeah.
But it's fun for this movie. So let's go through it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Anyway, she's like, we said we'd leave it up to the universe and we'd go to that concert. And she's like, well, that's convenient because you always have tickets to that concert. And she's like, no, the shitty doctor boyfriend made me get Macklemore tickets.
Which, now that says Christmas like Macklemore.
Right?
I was like, there's no way those tickets are on the same, that's not the same night, right?
No. I mean, it probably is, but I don't know why. They're probably at very different venues. But look, if you want to see Macklemore any other day of the year, that's fine. But Christmas Eve, that's Pentatonix time.
Yeah.
That's either Pentatonix or Mariah or Whitney when she was still alive. Or if you have a chance to talk to Whitney's ghost, do that one. But no Macklemore on Christmas Eve.
No. And I feel like he would tell you, he'd be like, I don't know, Christmas Eve, that's a Pentatonix night.
He's like, I'd rather be home with my family, thank you.
Exactly.
But maybe she thought because it was winter, she needed a little snow. Anyway, they go to the Rockefeller Center website and it's sold out. But who is on the website as one of the people buying a ticket? Airport James.
Not Airport James.
Airport James. He bought a ticket. And she's like, oh my God, that means he's going to go there to meet me because no one else on earth likes Pentatonix. And this is definitely a sign. It's a clue.
Paige, it seemed to me like no one on this movie's earth wasn't a huge fan of Pentatonix.
As it should be. Mariah should watch her back.
There's 5 of them, Paige.
There's 5 of them.
None of us are safe.
Nobody. Anyway, so they're like, okay, well, we're going to call Live Nation. We're going to call American Express to see if we have some card thing. They call a bunch of people and they're like, nobody's got them. What are we going to do? And her friend Roxy is like, oh, wait, we got to use this service called Impromptu where it's a personal concierge that gets you things, which those do exist. They're awesome.
That does sound awesome.
They're very expensive.
I'm sure.
They're so expensive.
I'm sure they've got to be, right?
They're prohibitively expensive. But rich people have them all the time. And usually, this is a weird thing. A lot of corporations have them or have a version of it because at my work, they do dinners and stuff all the time. And sometimes I have to go or whatever. But it's always
that's like my life. Yeah.
Yeah. Where it's hey, we need a dinner for 9 people at 6:30 p.m. Well, it's Friday night. Every restaurant in town is booked. No, they're not. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
they get you in and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
great. And they're like, we have a price fixed menu and we made you a cake. And you're like, how did this happen in like 3 hours? This is how. Personal concierge. We also, a lot of, I don't know if your office has one of these, where they hire a person specifically to do this job. This is their whole job.
We definitely don't have this, but I also know how to call the restaurant an hour before I want to go to the restaurant and ask the restaurant what the maitre d's name is. And then when I want to eat at the restaurant, I walk in there with 8 people and ask for the maitre d' by name, hand him $100 and say, Jeff sent me to see you. And then he will more than often seat you because a lot of their life is connections through people. And he probably knows someone with the basic fucking name of Jeff.
Yeah.
So like, it's never not worked.
That's a fascinating way to do that. Ever since I've been with my company, even when it was in small startup stage, it was one person's job to just organize the fun, cool things that we did and make sure we all had snacks.
Okay, so what you're describing is me. And what you're describing
That's
is me.
you?
That is what I do. Yeah, that's what I do.
Man.
Yeah. And marketing.
Anyway, so they can't get the tickets. So they're going to go to Impromptu, the personal concierge. Now, we cut to the personal concierge. And at this point, I still expected this to be a shitty Hallmark movie. And so I was like, is it Santa? Are these elves? Is this the North Pole? When we met the lady that owned the concierge thing, I was like, Black Lady Santa. I do love this movie. And no, she just works there. That's her company.
Yeah.
But like,
okay, so at this point, I thought that they might be making Teddy a Clarence kind of a thing, right? They're not, but it is sort of positioned like he's going to be her little like angel helper guy to help her find her love with James. But it's not that. And I really loved that it wasn't that. But that's what I thought at that point.
okay, but is Teddy a elf?
I don't think so. Like, I think he's a full-blood person who dicks her down shortly after the end of this movie.
God, I'd watch it. Shit. Make a sequel. Anyway, he brings cookies to the office. This is why I asked. I was like, this seems like a very elf-like job, and maybe he wants to be a dentist and he'll get there someday. But it's the guy from the airport, Sriracha guy. And I was like, oh my God. And he brought his boss, Chipino. And I was like, that's very difficult to bring on the train. Respect. But his boss is like, hey man, come into my office. Look, you're bad at this and you're about to hit your probationary period, which is 90 days for those of you who don't work in corporate America.
Right.
90 days, which means that we could fire you at any time without cause. And so at 90 days, you're about to hit it and we have to decide whether or not we're keeping you. And you've been kind of bad at this, but this lady needs help.
He's new at it. And it's a hard job.
It's a really hard job.
Yeah.
This lady needs help. Make her happy and I won't fire you, basically.
Or sort of we'll move you to like a full-time actual employee. So you'll no longer be on your
You
probationary
get
period.
bennies.
Yeah. It's good. But it is like, it's a lot of stakes. Like it is him losing his job, right?
Right. And we will find out later that he needs that job for family reasons because it's a Christmas movie.
Of course.
And it's almost time for the Christmas shoes.
I honestly thought about a Christmas purse because of what happens for the purse stuff. I was like, is this about to be a Christmas purse movie? But no, that lady like pulls through.
She pulled through. It's fine.
Yeah.
But he instantly recognizes her, but he doesn't know from where.
Right. And he's trying to figure it out. Like, I think he guesses like a high school, middle school sort of relationship. Not relationship, but like friendship maybe. Or like, did you go to the school or whatever?
Like the whole movie, he's like shooting guesses out until we find out what it is.
And I think she's the one that like puts it together when she sees the ramekins, right? Like
she is, yeah.
Yeah.
But she's like, I need this. I've got 32.5 hours. He's like, okay, let's start by looking at StubHub because typically what concierges do are the things that people didn't think of. Because a lot of people are like, I need a thing. How do I make phone? Bring me thing. And they just like can't do it. I'm always amazed when people are like, Paige, how'd you do that? And I was like, I Googled it. Like I
do love that the first thing he does when this lady who was hiring a concierge to like get tickets to the event is like, okay, I'll just buy them online.
Yeah.
Because like that is where you should start. There's no guarantee that the person who came into the office is like smart enough to know you can do that, I guess. Like so many people forget that shit.
If I had a nickel for every time someone came to me while in a customer service capacity and had not done the initial first thing that almost always solves their problem, I'd be a rich ass lady. Like I don't have to have direct interactions like that anymore. But if I had a nickel for, did you try turning your computer on? Like,
oh, Paige.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Can I tell you the time I realized that there were dumb people in the world? I was working, it was while I was in college, I was working technical support for Verizon. And I was like, I had talked to this guy who's having trouble with his phone. And I was like, are you on that phone? Are you calling me from the phone you're having trouble with? And he was like, no, I'm not. And I was like, okay, great. Do you have it with you? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. Take the battery out. And then the call disconnect.
Oh my God.
Because he had taken his own fucking battery out. Like, I have to assume he wasn't on the phone we were having trouble with.
Right.
And so he just responded to me asking to take the battery out. He thought I meant of the phone he was calling me on. I was like, oh, okay. So people are just dumb. There's like a lot of dumb people in the world. And I talked to one of them just now.
I have probably talked about this on the podcast before, but the two dumbest ones I've ever encountered in retail, or I'm sorry, three dumbest ones I've ever encountered in retail. One, the lady who returned a Christmas towel because she's like, all the writing is backwards. And I just turned the towel around because she was just looking at the back of the towel. And then she's like, I still want a cash refund. I was like, fine, you clearly need it. Like, I don't know what's going on with. And she had her receipt and everything.
Because I'm super hoping you made this up, but you just need this money because
right.
Like this is a weird excuse. But yes,
right.
I'll give you whatever you need.
Literally within days of that happening, we used to sell these. I don't even remember the name of the brand, but it was like a popsicle mold that you like freeze the mold and then you pour stuff in and it makes popsicles in like 6 minutes or something crazy.
Nice.
And this lady brought it back. She's like, we didn't know we needed to freeze it. And I was like, well, how did you think popsicles were going to happen? And she just looked at me and I was like, at some point for popsicles, you need to freeze something. And she was like, I don't understand. And I returned it because I was like, you clearly need this money.
I honestly think you might die if you keep this in your home. Like, yeah. That's how I'm scared of you. That's terrifying.
I'm worried. I'm worried for you.
Yeah.
The wildest one was I had somebody come up, and a lot of times because we sold cookware stuff, people would be like, I'm making this thing for the first time. Have you ever made it? Do you have any tips? Right? That happened all the time. So this lady comes up and she's like, I have never made chocolate chip cookies before. I was like, easy. Just buy chocolate chips, follow the recipe on the bag. Super easy.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, okay, I have a recipe, but it says that I have to use flour in it. And I was like, yes, it's a baked good.
I was about to say, so you're saying you have any recipe?
Right?
Right.
And she's like, yes, but flour is white. And I was like, yes, I don't see a problem. Do you want to use whole wheat instead? Are we trying to sub? And she's like, but cookies are brown.
I love this. That's insane.
Cookies are brown. And I was like, well, yeah, you bake them. Are you sure they're not going to turn out white? And I was like, yes, I'm sure. In fact, your cookie dough is also going to be brown because you add butter and vanilla and stuff to it. It's like, she's like, I just don't want them to be white. That would look weird. I was like, yeah, it would look weird. That's why it never happens that way. Like, what are you talking? And she did not believe me. She left that store thinking I was full of shit.
Paige.
And that her cookies were going to turn out white because she put white flour in them.
Paige, I cannot believe you lied to that lady. I secretly hope all her flour cookies come out white. When you started that, I thought that you were going to say that she thought you put flowers in them.
That was my first thought.
And then you said something that was dumber.
My first thought when she was like, it says it flour in it. And I was like, yes, like wheat flour, like flour. And she was like, no, I know, but it's white. And I was like, what? So if you're out there and you don't know, when you bake dough, it browns a bit. Anyway,
yeah.
Your cookies won't be white. Just follow the recipe on the bag. Anyway, she lists off all the things that she has tried. And he's like, okay, this is going to be harder than I thought. And she wasn't willing to sell feet pics for it. So unfortunate. I was wearing Christmas slippers and sent my husband pictures of them and just titled it Feet Pic.
You should have titled it Christmas Shoes.
Christmas shoes. Now you're going to be sad. But no, he can't find any tickets. He's like, all right, I got this old school guy at a kiosk. We're going to go check this out. Now, here's the thing. This may sound like a dumb idea, except in New York, I've gotten my best tickets from kiosks. That is the way to go.
This is not a thing in most cities.
No.
But yeah, they are pretending that this is New York City. So I got why they went there. But yeah.
Right.
It is very old school, though, because it's like just a dude on a corner in a kiosk.
Well, and here's definitely why, right? because I'm sure in the original script it was the kiosk, which if you've been to New York, you know about the place
Yeah.
where you buy the tickets in person, and it's usually whatever tickets are unsold for shows that night.
Yeah.
And so usually if you can get there by a certain time in the afternoon, you can get lucky and get tickets to shows that you would normally pay a lot more money for and would normally be sold out. That's a thing. But because they're filming this in Ontario, it's just a kiosk. It's
Yeah.
just a random kiosk. Anyway, he's like, okay, so we're not going to do this. And she gets a text from a Craigslist guy. And she's like, oh, we're going to go find my guy because your guy is closed. And he wants us to go to the Village and like meet him at this bar. Todd, have you ever bought tickets off Craigslist and had them be real?
No. Oh, not and have them be real. No.
I have a couple times. That's how.
Really?
Yes. That's how my roommate and I saw Fall Out Boy a ton of times in 2008 and 2009.
That was back in the Craigslist heyday.
Back in
yeah,
the heyday.
Yeah.
Modern day, not so much.
Yeah.
Anyway, we cut to the Pentatonix penthouse, basically.
We cut to Mount Olympus, Paige.
Mount Olympus. Where Becca, who is, I guess, Hermes? Anyway, Becca, their assistant, is like, hey, here are the things you have to do today. And they're like, awesome, did we sound good at the parade? And she's like, I did not listen because every day is a waking hell. And then they're like, great, here are all the people we need added to the guest list. And she's like, there are no more guest lists. The show is sold out. And they're like, aw, okay. And they're like, sold out? It's because we're famous. And then they sing a song about being famous.
It's so funny.
And it's so wild. And that was the point at which I was like, oh, this movie knows this is insane.
Yeah.
And it's just going to go with it. And I was like, great. And Becca just goes, great, cool. And then just like walks out of the room. And I was like,
I know, she hates it.
perfect performance.
I love that she hates it so much because
So
that's
much.
like if you love Pentatonix and your partner doesn't, that is them during this scene.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But we cut to them going to the bar to meet up with Davey from Davey's Tickets. And he's like, why would you think this would work? And she was like, back in the day, I got NSYNC tickets in an abandoned Quiznos. And then I went and JC winked at me and I was like, damn straight. Like, that's how we got Fall Out Boy tickets in an empty parking lot. And it's a miracle that guy didn't try to kill us. Anyway, they get there. He's the only guy in the bar. It's like 9:30 in the morning. And he seems friendly. He like knows her whole story because she gave him too much information.
Yeah.
Don't tell strangers about your whole life.
Yeah.
Don't do it. And I do love that, like, as this guy is relaying the story, Teddy's like, how do I not even know this story? Like, how do you know more than I know?
Right.
And he does the classic Craigslist bait and switch where he told her 500 and then when she got there, it was 800 and she only has the 5 and she's trying to haggle with her necklace and everything. And he's like, great.
Oh, and he takes it. He takes the
takes it.
500 and the necklace. Yeah.
Absolutely. And he's like, well, I'm sending the tickets to you and done. And he gets up to leave. But thankfully, Teddy looks at the ticket and he's like, oh, this is from last year. So he tackles him and she tries to pepper spray the ticket guy and does kind of get him a little bit.
She gets him first, but he ducks.
But she mainly gets Teddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, she mainly gets Teddy. Cut back to Pentatonix, and we reveal that Teddy has been messaging their account on Instagram to try and get tickets by talking to the band directly. They're all there signing, and I love so much. And I unfortunately don't know any of the Pentatonix names. One of them says, hey, I know this is a lot because they're like, you got to go to the Today Show, then Sirius XM, and then you got to go to like this journalist, and then you're done for the day. And then one of them is like, but then after the show, we've got a lot of downtime, and it'll be great. And she's like, no, you don't.
You don't. I love that.
Oh, I loved it.
Because the world is clamoring for more Pentatonix, Paige.
Yes.
This world can't get enough.
I mean, okay, Todd, my uncle and my dad have seen Pentatonix at Christmas multiple times, like years, and it's packed. They sell out. It's fucking nuts.
Of course they do. Of course they do, because theater nerds exist.
Right.
But I also think they are a little slow in April. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure.
so I do think they might have some time off coming up.
That's when they drop their hot fire mashups on YouTube is that time of year.
That's how I got into it.
Christmas is their bread and butter.
Yeah.
April is that mashup of like 15 90s songs that fucking slaps so fucking hard. Yeah.
Bring back Superfruit. Come on.
Ooh. I mean, I like them all together. I love me some Superfruit,
too.
of course, but like, I love them all together.
I thought Superfruit was hilarious. They were just very funny together.
Right.
I love the whole group too. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, at this point, their assistant Becca's like, oh, yikes, Teddy just got pepper sprayed. They're like, who's Teddy? And she's like, well, it's this guy. He's trying to get tickets, but there are no tickets, but he got pepper sprayed, but it's one true love. And they're like, oh my God, yay. Let us watch the mortals.
This is sort of where we confirm that they are following this. The Palantir they use to witness this part of the story until they become more active participants in it.
Are you proud of your SAT word?
Oh, come on, Paige. any chance I get to drop of Lord of the Rings reference, I'm gonna. But the Oculus, if you will, that they're viewing this through is their Twitter DMs, because in like a very like last ditch effort, Teddy is keeping them updated on what's going on in hopes that they will just read it. Like it's such a shot in the dark that pays off. It's so funny to me.
And they're not responding to any of it, which is my favorite, because like peek into the DMs of people who get DM'd a lot because they are internet figures. I love all of you. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast and DMing the things that you do. I can't read all of them. I can't.
It's too much.
It's too much.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
I will try to read as many as I can, but I am one person and I have limits. Pentatonix, way more famous than me. So like, this is just one guy just like, hi, hello. Answer me, you fucking bitch. Like that kind of like energy.
But at least Teddy's doing it the right way, because he's just like telling the story of the day, right? He's not like, why aren't you responding or whatever?
Right,
he's just
right.
very kindly like, here's what we're going through. Would love some help if you can provide it, but like, no worries if you can't. It's very just like, I'm going to tell you what's going on, which is the right way to do that. I have, and Paige, this may have happened to you too, but
I have many of these. Yes.
If you respond to somebody and you're just like, thank you.
Oh yeah.
I've had that go very badly.
Same.
Because like, then they'll send you 15 other messages and you're like, I didn't sign up for all of this.
Right. I just wanted to say thank you.
I had someone get like mad at me and like cuss me out in my
Same.
DMs just because, and all I did was say thanks to like a, shout out about the episode, like I love this episode or whatever.
Right.
It's like, thanks for listening.
Yep.
And then like it like 5 days later ended with them cussing me out.
Yeah.
It was like crazy. Anyway, so like that's one of the reasons I don't even really engage with it anymore. It's just too weird.
I had to stop because, especially if it was men, if I said thank you, it was an invitation to hit on me. So I had to stop replying to most men in general, unless I already know them. And then unfortunately, I had a number of interactions like the one you described where you say thank you because you're just like, thanks. And then it's like, I can't believe you responded. Oh my God. And then like 50 messages.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't. I was just trying to thank you. But like, I'm at my day job in a meeting. Like I can't do, or whatever.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I wish I could not.
I don't only exist on the podcast. So I have to have time to do my life.
But yeah, so the fact that they're getting the updates is pretty hilarious. Anyway, they're still at the bar. He's nursing his pepper sprayed eyes. She gets him milk because she knows what's up.
Yeah. I like that he starts drinking it at first and she's like, no, it's for your eyes.
It's for the capsaicin in the pepper spray.
Yeah.
Which is wild that I guess maybe she knows about pepper spray and not cooking. But that's also a thing of like, if you're cooking, you usually know that because you maybe have been like me and tried to make pepper jelly and then accidentally touched your eyes and had to pour milk on your eyes.
It happens.
Anywho, he finally gets a text. He's like, I think I have a client, like another client within the concierge ecosystem that has a ticket and maybe we could get one. And she has kind of told him the like, wrong place, wrong time. I think we were meant to be fine. So they decide that they're going to go meet up with the client about the ticket. And they get to this like crazy huge penthouse where they meet the client, and the clients are what I can only describe as the bizarre crypto influencers from that documentary.
That's immediately what I thought of.
Or elves.
Sure.
But the murderous kind from Eurovision, elves.
That makes more sense. Yeah, because they've definitely killed people. I mean, I don't mean the people who were in the show Biggest Heists Ever.
No, you mean for sport.
No, I mean the characters in this movie have definitely
Yes.
killed for sport. Yes.
Yeah. Hard target style.
I'm not trying to accuse the people in the documentary, like Bitcoin Bonnie and Clyde or whatever, not those actual people. Although maybe, I don't know, they might be involved in that too. No idea, but I doubt it.
Here's how I know the people in the documentary didn't kill people for sport. They couldn't get the money out.
I know, right?
Like, that was their whole problem, is that they stole all this money and they couldn't get to it. And I don't know why it made me laugh so fucking hard, but that was the funniest part to me, was that they had it and they just couldn't get to it.
Yeah.
And neither could the cops, though. They're like, it's literally sitting right there. We can't do anything. And I was like, oh yeah, crypto's the future. Air quotes. Good job, guys.
It's hard to steal money when the blockchain tracks everything it does.
Like, your money, you can't even steal it. It's not real. Anyway, watch the documentary.
I mean, technically our money isn't real, Paige.
I know fiat currency is built on a dream. I understand. I just think it's real funny that you can't even heist it.
I know.
Anyway, so he goes out on this giant 86-story up balcony to talk to this guy. She goes in with her to the try-on dresses, and they pick a dress for her, and she's like, you know, the weird client lady is like, I love my husband. It's so great. And when you like find that person, the world melts away. It's so awesome. You got to take this dress because like true love, you got to like dress up for it. And she's like, okay, great. But this is why I was like, they're giving them supplies. They must be elves. Gondor called for aid and these people showed up.
I mean, they did show up to a magical like loft in the sky and get gifts. I mean, it is sort of like
Olympus?
the gods
Olympus?
also. Yeah, it is like they are like the 6th and 7th member of the Pentatonix.
Yes.
And they also are gods. I don't know. But they are just like very rich, eccentric people who help them on their journey.
They showed up in this movie from that SNL sketch with Maya Rudolph that always has the weird chairs. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Noonie? No, Noonie. Anyway, they have to run an errand for them in order to get the tickets. And for that, they need to go buy this sugar plum Chanel purse, which appears to just be a regular Chanel purse that is covered in rhinestones or Swarovski crystals, probably. But they have to get in line because there's a huge ass line. And this line gives them a chance to kind of talk to each other, and like, she gets to try his trail mix that doesn't have peanuts in it. This is how he finds out that she's allergic to peanuts.
Yeah.
It's great.
And he always, like, he is, like, protecting her along the way from peanuts. And I thought that was super cute. I loved that.
Yeah. Well, and it's in direct opposition to the boyfriend who forgot about her peanut allergy.
Her doctor boyfriend. That should be, like, his wheelhouse, right?
Right? He should remember everyone's allergies.
Right.
Everyone. Like my allergy to bullshit. Anyway, they get into the store and they can like see the sugar plum purse. And as they're waiting, they're like getting up to the front. There's a lady berating a salesperson, and Teddy is like, not on my watch, because he's a real G. He's a hot hero here for the retail workers. And he goes over and is like, hey, ma'am, you got to get in line like everybody else. Quit, just get in line. And here's the thing. If you're considering confronting a crazy person in the mall this Christmas, do it. Retail workers love that shit. It makes us slow clap because we're not allowed to say things to those people a lot of the time unless we know that we're quitting on December 23rd. So if you can say them, I can't stop you. It's great.
Paige, it turns on this like retail worker so much. She definitely was down to pound Teddy.
Oh,
you know,
I would have slid off my cash register if a man that gorgeous came up and did that. Oh my goodness. Yes.
I mean, I got why she was trying to drop her sugar plum on him. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. But they're still in line. He like confronts that lady and is like, hey, Karen, go to the back of the line, you stupid, crazy lady. And she eventually does because she realizes that being old and white is not a pass to the front of the line, I guess.
Well, it's okay. So it's this really interesting, unique thing that happens. And this is why I tell people, I'm like, if you want to confront other shoppers, do it, because people get embarrassed that other people have noticed their bad behavior.
Yeah.
They don't consider the retail workers people. So if you say to them, you're embarrassing yourself right now, this behavior is disgusting, they will often leave the store, because they are truly embarrassed.
This was years ago, but I was literally just waiting in line at a movie theater, and I was talking to my girlfriend at the time, and I didn't notice that someone who was in front of us in line was like being really rude to the person getting their popcorn, I think. And I just heard someone who was in between me and the front of the line go, "Bro, oof." And it's just like,
I've done that one.
And then got really like between him and it was like him and another guy who he was like going to see a movie with. Like they got real chatty about this idiot in the front of the line. Like, and everyone could hear him. And then that dude at the front of the line shut up, took his popcorn and fucking left, like
That's fucking right.
didn't say anything, just like
Social engineering.
clambered down and left. Yeah. I was like,
Yes.
that's when I started paying attention, and they were pretty funny about it. It was like,
hilarious.
yeah.
And I've pulled that move many, many times. It works every time. When I was still at Aeropostale, I was folding a bunch of t-shirts, and I had been folding all day. My back was killing me. And I had just folded this pile, and a lady came and undid the whole fucking pile. And another customer saw her do it. And I was about to move back to just refold the pile I had just folded or whatever. And the customer was like, "No, you fold it," to the other customer.
Nice.
And the other customer's like, "Excuse you?" And she's like, "She doesn't come to your house and mess up all your stuff. Fold it." And the other customer stood there and made that other customer fold the stack. It's the best thing I've ever seen. And I tell you what, that lady didn't mess up any of my other stacks.
There you go.
So yes, shame people into good behavior sometimes. But he goes over, he talks this lady down, and the retail worker is just like, "Little old me." And he comes back to the line with Christina Milian, and she's like, "That girl was into you, by the way."
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, I was just anyone would do it. I was just being nice." She's like, "You got to go over there and like give her your number." And he's like, "Oh, okay."
She damn near flooded her basement page. Like, you got to go talk to her.
Yeah, she damn near flooded her basement. And so he goes over to talk to her. And what he actually does is, because he was nice to her, she's like, "I'll give you the hookup on the sugar plum purse because we only have one." Which, by the way, if you want a retail worker to be nice, if you want to earn special treatment from a retail worker, defend them against a shitty customer.
Yeah.
We'll do fucking anything for you.
Yeah.
I have hid product for people because they were nice and other people weren't. Be nice and we won't fuck with you.
Paige, I'm not saying that I'm the reason Radio Shack went out of business, but when I was in college, right before they did, I knew a lot of people who may have walked in with tons of cables and or connectors or other components that they didn't pay for. I don't know how it happened, but stuff happens. Shrinkage happens, guys.
Shrinkage happens. I'm just saying that, like, if you were cool to me as a retail worker, then maybe coupons mysteriously show up when you get to the register. You know what I'm saying?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Kindness costs you nothing.
Exactly. And it can earn you something, which is exactly what happens here, because she sneaks him the sugar plum bag.
I thought it was super nice that she does this.
Yes.
I also thought it was super shitty of that grown man to use his child to lie to Christina Milian about their mom being sick, and that like she just wants this for Christmas and she just got over cancer. I was like, really, bro? Really?
Oh, and they had like memorized their lines to do them in unison. I did question if the story was true, because I was like, is this Christmas shoes in the middle of this? But Christina Milian's like, "I don't need this purse. You do." And apparently Teddy then texts Pentatonix about that a bunch. And it's like, she was really, really nice. And like, is so selfless and whatever. But that was the last sugar plum.
We never see him texting Pentatonix outside the first time they set up that he's doing it.
Right.
But we find out that he has sent them over the course of 2 days an alarming number of texts.
710 texts.
It was 710. I wrote it down too. I was like, that's an insane amount of context for someone who has not responded.
That's a crazy amount of texts. Yeah. Well, and at a certain point, I was like, he's treating this like his personal diary.
Yeah.
Because at a certain point, when you're like, they're not going to respond, this is all going into a black hole. It was like, yeah, sure, I guess.
710 messages. I've already done the bit where I'm sending you correspondence from the front lines in the Civil War.
So
like
much.
That's how many messages deep this guy is in 2 days.
I've already sent feet pics by that point because it's all a joke to me. But because there's no more sugar plum bags, a riot erupts in the Chanel store and they escape. So does the guy with his son and the purse or whatever.
Yeah.
Now they get out and we cut to Pentatonix, who again are just in Olympus or whatever. And they're just like, Teddy got the purse, but then Layla gave it to some guy and they're like, oh, what? Because it was a beautiful love story. Wait, guys, maybe Teddy and her should be together. And they're just like talking it out like it's a TV show they're watching. And it's hysterical.
Yeah. Like they're gods on Olympus whose job it is to only fuck with the mortals.
Love it.
Yeah.
Fuck with the mortals and quote Brene Brown, which I did love that everyone left the room. They were like, guys, it's not 2018.
And Scott's like,
on.
I love it. He's like, I was reading this book by Brene Brown, and everyone like gets up off the couch and starts walking outside. And as he's saying, like, I'm just gonna look it up on my Kindle because I don't want to get it wrong. And he's like looking up the specific quote, and they are like out the door, and it cuts back to I think it's Scott on the couch, and he's like, I'll just tell you later.
I'll tell you later.
It really is funny, and like they're decent actors, guys. Like
They're having a blast.
yeah. But like if I told you that like Nickelback wrote and produced a movie that featured a love story just about getting to a Nickelback show and that Nickelback was acting in it, there's no way they're good
Right.
at that part of it. Right. Yeah.
Right.
But these guys are actually pretty good.
Look, they're not Fred Durst, okay? Who was in 2 good movies this year. Anyway, she's FaceTiming with her friend Roxy, and she's like, I gave away the purse because like she needed it. And her friend Roxy's like, all right, well, come back to home base and we'll keep working on trying to get these tickets. They come back to Roxy's apartment, but they take like a little rickshaw.
But this time they go back with Teddy.
Right. They go back with Teddy in a fun little rickshaw with Christmas lights. So they have, they go through the park and they have a little fun conversation, but then they get back to Roxy's apartment and he cooks them dinner. And apparently it's incredible.
Yes.
But this is also where he takes off his long sleeve shirt and shows us them guns.
He is a professional athlete, or was at least, and you can definitely tell he's in great shape still.
Look, he can touch down in my end zone anytime he wants.
Exactly.
I love it when like just a little bit of a tattoo peeks out from beneath the t-shirt. It's my weakness. Anyway, he cooks really good food and they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Also his arms, and they literally talk about the arms. That's not just me being horny. Like it's in the movie.
It is.
This is where he's like, I used to be a chef, and he cooked at a restaurant where she had her birthday and probably cooked like her birthday meal.
The sea bass. Yeah. She even remembers the meal. She was like, it was life changing. And he's like, I probably cooked that.
Yeah. Chilean sea bass. They spared no expense. But his mom got sick and chef jobs aren't flexible, which by the way, they are not flexible. It's like a thing. And so he took this job so that he could be there to help out his mom. And they're like, that's a tragedy because you're a fantastic cook. But as they're having this conversation, he's like, oh my goodness, my cousin has 2 tickets. We just have to go to my mom's house in Brooklyn to pick them up. Great. We arrive at the redressed holiday house for the second time this Christmas season on this show.
Netflix uses it every year, guys.
Every year. But they get there and we meet his cousin, Jory, or Jordan, Jordy for short. And Jordy's like, we don't have a lot of time. We've got to get more complicated. Like, we have to do this thing. And his mom shows up and is like, yeah, I need you to help me with the creme brulees. And I was like,
Ramekins.
But she meets Layla, and by now there's already kind of like chemistry brewing or whatever.
Oh, yeah. They've had a lot of moments together. Like, they've been working on this project for what seems like 4 days in this one day.
But Jordy informs them that they are going to have to rehearse and perform a lip sync to win these tickets. And that it is a competition for understudies. and RuPaul's Drag Race rejects.
Yes.
And they specifically say that. It's my favorite.
It's amazing.
Yeah, RuPaul's Drag Race runners-up is what they say.
When they reveal this, I was like, I don't know if this movie could be more aggressively for me.
For you, yes.
Like, because I love RuPaul's Drag Race. I love acapella. Like, it's just straight up for me.
It's great, but he does tell them it's really serious. Last year's second place winner slashed the tires of the winner, and they banned him for a year. And he's like, banned him for a year? I was robbed. And you reveal
Yes.
that it was Jordy who did the tire slashing.
I love when we get to the actual lip sync battle and like the posters that the other person put up on the wall
my
of
God.
Jordy, and like Jordy is like,
Incredible.
I hate that photo, and that like this person is Jordy's nemesis. Because he's like, I hate that photo, and then Jordy's nemesis is like, I know.
I know.
It's so cunty. I love it. It's so funny.
When Jordan gets them to like go on stage, that guy is backstage ripping down those posters.
I know. It's great.
It's so funny. Anyway, so they start rehearsing. They're not great, but they're rehearsing a bunch of lifts where he has to like put his hands on her waist and like, ooh.
Yeah. This is how you get like in an action movie, this would be him showing her how to shoot the gun, right?
Yes.
But this is like the romance comedy version of it, and it's super cute.
Yeah. And I do think Hicks and Ripley would have nailed that lift if they had to do a lift instead of learn how to use a gun. I'm just saying.
All I'm thinking of is Ripley in the power suit lifting him over her in the power suit.
Now I had the time of my life.
Why did it become a gender reversed
Get
dirty dancing?
away from her,
You bitch!
Yeah.
Open the airlock out the door. Yeah.
And I owe it all to you. Anyway, so the ramekins make their entrance.
Oh man.
And she picks one up and is like, oh, the ramekin, you left it in my purse, the sriracha on the tiny quiche, it was you. And he's like, I knew I recognized you from somewhere. I never forget a face.
He's like, Rama can't believe it.
Rama can't believe it. I never forget a face, especially a pretty one.
Oh.
Bow, 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 bow.
Oh yeah. This is when she was like, hang on.
Hang on.
Is Teddy the guy I've been hanging out with for legit 18 hours in this day? Is he super hot? And yeah.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Right? And she's like, I've never made creme brulee. Can you show me how to do it? And he's like, oh, yeah, girl.
He's like, I can definitely creme that brulee.
I could creme all over your brulees.
Yeah.
And like, it is the sexiest cooking montage I've ever seen. He like ties her apron for her. And I was
Yeah.
like, get it, Netflix, let's go. But they have some conversations about like his confidence about his cooking, her, working with the students, everything. And his mom walks into the room. This is the one part of this movie that was a little too bonkers for me because it reminded me of The Room, which I know you have not seen.
Unfortunate. Yeah.
But there is a scene where a character's mom shows up just to have a conversation, just like comes to the house, has a conversation, leaves. But the conversation was like, well, Johnny pays for all your stuff and you're going to have to because I'm dying. I definitely have breast cancer. Oh, well, have a great day. And then just leaves in the middle of the conversation. And his mom walks into this kitchen and is like, you really should go back to being a chef. I'm not sick anymore. And you know that. And then she just leaves.
Yes. It's kind of sweet though. She's like, I love having you around.
Sure.
But I don't need you around. And I
Right.
really want you to live your own life, not my life. She does say fundamentally what you said.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it's sweet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to help me, and I'm dying. You're not dying. It's official. I got the tests back. I definitely have breast cancer. Gotta love The Room, man. Tommy Wiseau, genius. Anyway.
Accidental genius, maybe.
Accidental genius, yes.
Yeah.
She crashes on the couch. And he like wakes up the next day and he goes to wake her up, but he's like, oh, she looks so peaceful. And then Jordy is like, fuck that. Wake up, bitch. Like,
Yo, Jordy's nuts in this movie. Yeah.
I love Jordy. Jordy might be my favorite character. Anyway, he's like, we've got to get you beautiful. And he's like, she's already beautiful. And he's like, no, not morning beautiful, show beautiful. Here's her glam squad. We show up to the opera house where the lip sync battle is. and it is all drag queens. We enter on Priyanka performing a song called Slay My Name.
Yes.
Slay My Name, Christmas drag song.
It was great. I mean, they win.
They do win. And I did think for a second, because it's Christina Milian, that I'm like, oh, they're going to have her actually sing. And it's going to be incredible.
You'd think. Yeah.
They don't. I'm still not mad at it, because they go up there and they have this like crazy dance and lip sync performance where he's dressed as Santa and she kind of gives him a lap dance and she's in this like rhinestone thing. And at the end of it, they make the fuck out.
Yeah. She kisses him, really. Like, she engages in a kiss. Like, she's the one that goes
Yes.
like 90, right?
Yes. There's a wig reveal and a rap interlude and then the kiss.
Oh, that wig reveal. It's a wig and then a beard reveal, Paige.
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's great. But she does kiss him on stage. And I don't think he was expecting it. It's very, like, for him, I think he has, like, this crush on her, obviously.
Right.
But, like, he's trying to help get her to what she thinks is the love of her life.
Right.
And he takes that seriously. He is, like, very committed to that. So I don't think he was expecting this at all. And I wasn't either. I thought that this kiss would happen, but only on stage with the Pentatonix later.
Right.
I didn't think it would happen here. And I loved that it did. And I thought it was great that she was ballsy enough to do it.
She's ballsy and the whole room melts away.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
it's this like, this is your person.
Yeah.
And literally from this moment on, I don't think she has really any doubts that he's her person. It's just a question about whether she's going to do something about it. Because at this point, I was like, how's there 30 more minutes? Well, they get off the stage. They win second. They don't win the tickets. But she literally is kind of like, I don't care. Like, she's kind of already like, I don't need the tickets, right?
As they get off stage, they even sort of talk about it. They're like, so that was something, right?
Right.
Like, we got, like, something, I felt like they start to, like, admit to each other. I think what they admit to each other later on, but because they have 30 minutes left of runtime, Jordy runs over and they sort of break them up, and then
because they're like, spoiler, you did get the tickets because the Pentatonix found out what happened, because the Pentatonix are watching a live feed from the lip sync competition. They're like, should we give them a ticket? I don't know if we should interfere. And I was like, literally, is this the Iliad? Like, this is just the gods wanting to interfere?
Guys, it's that level of movie where it's like up there with the greats, like the classics.
Yeah, Clash of the Titans. They just needed a mechanical owl.
I've said that for years. If you're going to add any member to the Pentatonix, it's a mechanical owl.
Good old Bupo with the high notes. But they decide, they're like, okay, we're going to give her the ticket, but then we're also going to make sure Teddy's there. So she has to decide who she's going to pick, because we are toiling in the lives of mortals. Anyway, so they're like, oh my God, did something, oh, we just kissed, I don't know. And they're like, you got a ticket, we gotta go. And then they like literally drag her away. And then he's like, oh, like she's gone. And then Jordy's like, no, you have to play Santa. And he's like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, what?
I know.
He's like, you gotta play Santa. So she goes home to Roxy's to like get all dolled up for the night. And Roxy is like, oh, hey, they sent us a survey for impromptu. Do you want to fill it out? She's like, oh, yes, I have to do that for Teddy. And as she's like answering, it's very clear that she cares more about him than just this survey of like, did he do a good job or not?
I like the way they do that too, because she's like, Roxy's asking the questions the survey's asking, and she's like answering, and Roxy's sort of filling out the survey for her. And she's giving too much context. Like,
right.
And a lot of times Roxy's like, that's sweet and that's great, but it's like just a yes or no. I'm going to put yes. I'll put yes.
I'm going to put yes.
And it's just like, it's very funny the way they do it. I liked it a lot.
They do. But he goes in his Santa suit. He gets splashed by a taxi twice, so he's in bad shape. But he gets there, and this is when we see that one guy from Pentatonix playing a cello while also beatboxing. Very impressive.
It's so impressive. Yeah, Yo-Yo Ma wishes.
I know. So he shows up, and he's like, I'm here to be Santa. And they're like, oh my God, you're the guy. Like, yay. Hooray. And he's like, oh my God, Pentatonix. Like, you know, as if Zeus came down, and it would be like, oh my God, Zeus. Or a bull or a swan. Zeus be doing that. Like, that's how it kind of feels.
Yeah. I do think it's great, though, because when he finally arrives and he sees almost all of the Pentatonix, and he's like, oh my God, and he names all of them.
And I was like, they've got names?
And then he walks towards the stage, and he's like, well, where's Scott? And then Scott's like right behind him, like, who's asking? It's just like such a funny way to reveal it. It's so funny to me.
But this is where they're like, okay, so we've been watching the entire time. We read all your text messages. So we invited both of you to see who she chooses, because that's what would please us, the Pentaton gods. And like,
it is very much that, though.
That
It
is
is
what
like,
it is.
we've brought you both here because we want to play with your love life for the audience.
right.
It's great. I love it.
No notes.
So here's what you have to do. Dress as Santa, be in a performance that you are definitely not going to get paid for, and, you know, put your love life on the line tonight for your 400 closest friends and our paying audience.
But they do give him a glow up. He looks incredible in that suit. I'm just saying.
I loved the suit reveal of it all because, like, they do give him a new Santa suit too because he got splashed, and they make reference to, like, hey, your suit.
Yeah.
Make sure you got your suit or whatever. And then they reveal he's wearing like a more like tuxedo, but like red.
It's awesome.
It is so, he does look great in it. Mind you, he is a former professional football player.
Good for him.
Eddie George wishes he could have gotten here. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know who that is, but okay. I don't know who the ball people are.
You've mentioned we talked about him on that movie last week, I think, right? No, it wasn't last week. What movie was that? Shit. Oh, it was Best Man Holiday.
Oh.
It was Best Man Holiday. Yeah.
Yes.
He's the commentator in that. Sorry.
Right. She goes to the performance fully intending to be like, fuck Airport James, I'm here for Teddy. And you're like, yes, run, go, get there. And Airport James is out in front and you're like, oh, no. And she's running from the taxi and she runs into him out front and she literally doesn't even let him say anything. She's just like, hey, I'm so sorry, but like, it's not you, it's the other guy, and I have to go get him, but I wish you all the happiness. I'm glad that you're here, but like, it can't be you.
And James says nothing. He just like sees her, acknowledges her, hears what she has to say, and she runs away. And he's just like, okay.
Okay. Meanwhile, Teddy is backstage because he has to, for the Santa part, go up in the cherry picker and go and slide down the chimney. And he's like, but heights. And they're like, do you want to do it or not? And he's like, I don't know. Meanwhile, James is standing outside and like she's run inside and his girlfriend shows up and you're like, oh, yay, happy times for all. But she tries to go around the back because she knows that he's playing Santa, but they won't let her in at the back. So she's got to run.
I did sort of love that she's like trying to like, come on, he's talking about me on stage right now. And the guy's like, that's great for you, but he's not my boss. You have a ticket. Go to the front, please.
Go to the front.
They will definitely let you in. And she's like, okay. So she runs around to the front.
She runs around to the front. Meanwhile, he has slid down the chimney and taken off the Santa suit to reveal a fantastic red suit. And he's like, I know. He's like, I fully understand why that other guy wanted to meet up with you again after only 3 hours, because I've been with you like a day and a half and I chased you the rest of my life. And I was like, that is a line.
Paige.
That is a line, my dude.
I didn't bring this up until now, but yes, this movie made me cry. I was crying at this point in the movie. It was so sweet.
So she makes it in just in time to get up on stage and they kiss because they belong together and it's very cute.
It's so cute, guys.
And her dress is gorgeous.
They do look amazing together because he's got that red suit on and her dress like matches it perfectly.
Oh.
And so but like the Pentatonix bring them up on stage and then they sing the name of the movie at you a bunch, I think. Isn't this that song?
But honestly, that song fucking slapped. Yeah, I was like, yes.
Paige, I think everyone knew it slapped when I said the Pentatonix sang it. So, yeah.
But up on the housetop behind the set, the assistant and the other guy at the back door, he's like crying. He's like, I could have let her in through the back.
And the assistant's like, yeah,
you could have. And that's the movie.
I do like that he like owns that. He's like, okay, that's okay. I fucked up there.
I could have done that.
Yeah.
I could have.
Anyway, Paige, having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, what did you think about Meet Me Next Christmas?
I really liked it.
I did too.
I thought it was cute.
Yeah, it's great. It really is. I think that there is a lot of Pentatonix in it. So if you're not into that, you might not be into it. But even if you're not into that on a huge level like I am, it's a really cute movie. It's well written. The story makes sense. Your characters are great. Even the won't they guy, like the will they, won't they guy, James, Airport James is a great character. You know, like everyone's great. I liked it. It's a fun Christmas movie.
It is. It is a fun Christmas movie. This is the perfect thing to watch while putting up decorations because you then also have the Pentatonix Christmas soundtrack
Right?
while the movie is going.
Yeah, it's great. But Paige, do you have any fun facts for us?
Very few, but one of them's personal.
Well, hit us with your fun facts.
Very
It's Paige
few
fun facts.
There's only like 2 fun facts for this movie.
This movie just came out very recently, guys. Yeah.
It literally came out 2 weeks ago. One of the fun facts is just the a cappella group in the film is real life Pentatonix, winner of the Sing Off 2009.
Oh my God.
We knew that. The second fun fact is that Layla mentions getting NSYNC tickets from a guy in an abandoned Quiznos. Fun fact, Christina Milian opened for NSYNC on their Pop Odyssey tour, which I attended. That is the
What?
one time I saw NSYNC was on that tour. Anyway, those are your fun facts.
Well, thank you for those fun facts, Paige. Let's talk a little bit about box office. And when I say a little bit about box office, I really mean none about box office because it's a Netflix movie. So I'm just going to assume, but have no evidence to support this. For money laundering reasons, Netflix doesn't tell you how much they spend on movies or how much they make in revenue. So
Right.
I really don't know. I do know it got about let's just say a 50% average on your IMDb's, Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritic, like that. It didn't do great on that, and I think those people are wrong.
I think they're wrong as well. I think they don't understand how cool it would be for the Pentatonix to be Greek gods.
I think that they don't understand how cool it would be to have Pentatonix write and direct a movie, because that's clearly what we see here.
Yep.
But Paige, really, sorry, that's your box office. There's not much to it.
Well, I mean, you know what? There is a lot to probably the soundtrack to this. I hope there is one.
Without looking it up, I promise you there is one.
I looked for the soundtrack. So I watched the Sabrina Carpenter Christmas special, and I really badly want her and Chappell Roan's version of Last Christmas, and I could not find it. So I'm hoping that is eventually available for purchase as well.
I wish those two kids would just figure it out and, end up together.
Hey, I'd watch it. Anyway, yeah, I hope there's a soundtrack.
I'm sure there is. Yeah, but Paige, do you want to hit us with that romance scale?
Yeah, our romance scale is a scale of 1 to 4 because Mikey said so for some science reason. I don't remember. Anyway, Todd, where are you putting it?
Man, I'm going to put this at a 2. I'll put it at a 2, but it largely because you only get a kiss.
Yeah.
But man, if we got the night this movie ends, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's just them splitting each other in half.
Ooh. Or if the night before we had a 1 bed trope.
Oh man.
All my
Paige.
romance girlies know what's up. All my romance girlies know what's up.
Well, call me a romance girly because I know what's up.
Yep. I think I'm going to give this, I want to give it more because I like that they actually talk and have chemistry, and that is shockingly and depressingly absent from most movies like this. So I'm going to give it a 2.5. But it is kind of a 0 on the roar scale, and that's why. If they had banged it out, it would have been a solid 3, 4.
And they do have chemistry, man. They really do.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. They're very sweet together. And that's your romance scale.
Yeah. So, Paige, this week you made us watch Meet Me Next Christmas. What are you going to make us watch next week?
This has been requested in the Facebook group every year that we have done Christmas movies, and it is called Pottersville from 2017.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I am positive I've seen it. I also remember nothing from it.
Just from the cast list alone, and then some of the bonkers things people have said about it, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So we're watching Pottersville next week.
I think it's a play on It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, no. Okay.
I don't know. And I know I've watched it because it's got so it's got Michael Shannon in it. It's got Judy Greer in it, Ron Perlman, Christina Hendricks, Tom Lennon's in it, Ian McShane.
It's an insane cast.
It's like a murderer's row of amazing actors in, I guess, the most forgettable Christmas movie of 2017.
Right.
Anyway, I can't wait to revisit Potter's Ground and remember what that was about.
We'll find out. Or Pottersville. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Pottersville. Potter's Ground was a movie Natalie was in. Sorry.
Was that the horror one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she gets killed in that. You see her with her throat slit, arrows in her or something like that. It's awesome. Yeah. Anyway.
Hey, do you have any reviews, Todd?
I do. This week, I'm going to read a comment on our most recent episode, and that is our Best Man Holiday episode. And this one is going to be from, their name is Bookstore Queer. And I swear to God, that's their name. So don't at me.
I feel like we need to be friends. Hey.
Yes, I do feel like I like that.
What you up to? What kind of bookstores?
I know. Okay, I bet I would know what kind of bookstores, and I know I'd like this person because their comment is thus: yes, Todd for the win with the Dead Authors Pod reference. Love it. Now I've got to re-listen to the LRH episodes.
Oh, I bet that one's great.
And then they go on to quote Tom Lennon improving as L. Ron Hubbard.
Oh, damn it. It's Tom Lennon as LRH? Fuck.
Yeah, it's insane. It's the only two-parter that Paul F. Tompkins did on that show because it was such an insane episode.
Sure.
Because he did so much prep. He came with affirmations that L. Ron Hubbard would read to himself. And those affirmations are in the comment that Bookstore Queer left because it's like a funny line from it. And they go, quote, and I'm continuing Bookstore Queer's comment here. And I'll pick back up where I left off. Now I've got to re-listen to the LRH episodes. Quote, snakes are no longer a danger to you. There are no snakes at the bottom of your bed.
What? No, what? What are you talking about? I'm going to say that to myself in the mirror every night.
And then they say, sure, Commodore, sure. Thank you for the fun. And then they sign it Book. So Book, thank you so much
Thank you.
for that. And guys, if you haven't heard Dead Authors podcast, that's how I knew I loved Paul F. Tompkins before I knew who Paul F. Tompkins was. That podcast saved my life on some level. I love that podcast. Anyway, but thank you so much for that comment. And if you guys want to leave us a comment on Spotify or a 5-star Apple review, do that and I may read it on our next episode.
And that's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
And I'm Todd.
And you complete us to Snowpletion.
Bye. Paige refers to them as bald people nerds.
I don't know who the ball people are.
La, 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 la.